Mariana Trench, the deepest point on Earth, beneath the warm tropical waters of the Pacific Ocean, there is a different world. Dark, cold, and wrapped in silence. A place so risky that we actually know almost nothing about what's down there. Once it was believed that no living creatures could survive there. The reason? The pressure is extremely high, and the conditions are so harsh that even living cells would be torn apart. Bones, shells, all would dissolve and disappear. But in 1960, someone saw something moving in that darkness. And for the first time, humanity began to realize that there were signs of life there. Moreover, these creatures had evolved to live only in that place, and nowhere else on Earth. Most of what we know today about the Mariana Trench comes from samples brought up by deep-sea vehicles or from creatures caught entirely by chance. As soon as they are brought to the surface, they decay and deform. So we can only guess what they actually look like in their natural form. The deepest ocean floor on Earth remains the last unexplored frontier of our planet. I'm Ismail Kopuk, and you're watching Cosmic Earth. In this video, we're descending into the deepest place on Earth. The Mariana Trench, the first discovery, HMS Challenger. The year is 1875. The British ship HMS Challenger was nearing the end of a nearly 4-year-long research expedition, measuring the depths of the oceans. But on that day, something happened that had never occurred before. The lead weight did not touch the bottom at 3 kilometers. Not at 4. Not even at 5. It just kept going down. The crew kept adding more rope. And finally, the weight reached the bottom after 8 kilometers. That day, humanity succeeded in discovering the Mariana Trench. If they had conducted their measurement a bit further west, they would have found what we now call the Challenger Deep. That is, the deepest point on Earth. 11 kilometers so deep that if Mount Everest were placed there, it would still remain 2 kilometers underwater. The deep scars of the Earth. The Mariana Trench is just one of the hundreds of thousands of kilometers of fracture lines that circle the Pacific Ocean. These lines are where the Earth's crust rubs and breaks apart. Earthquakes, volcanoes, all are born from these zones. Scientists call this formation the Ring of Fire, Finuneti. Percent of all earthquakes on Earth occur here. But how did this massive trench form? Continents and oceans are actually made up of giant plates, like icebergs floating on magma. Some drift apart and form new crust. Others collide, with one sliding beneath the other. The Mariana Trench belongs to this second type. The Pacific Plate is sinking beneath the Philippine Plate. That means the ocean floor is returning to the very magma from which it was born. This process is called subduction, and this enormous pressure is what creates the deepest trenches on our planet. The descent. The Mariana Trench is about 2,000 kilometers long and 70 kilometers wide, but the most dangerous part is the area known as Challenger Deep. Descending to this 11,000-meter depth is almost impossible. The pressure here is 1,000 times greater than at the surface. Imagine a 1-ton car pressing down on just your thumb. That's enough to crush living tissue, and even the toughest metals. In 1960, American Don Walsh and Swiss oceanographer Jacques Picard made this insane descent in a small submersible called the Trieste. After nearly 5 hours, they reached the ocean floor. When they looked out through the glass window, they witnessed a miracle, a sign of life. There, at the very bottom of the sea, a creature resembling a sea cucumber was moving. For the first time in history, humans had seen life at the deepest point on Earth. Half a century of silence. After that dive, no one returned there for half a century. 12 people went to the moon, but only 2 ever reached the Mariana Trench, until 2012, when filmmaker James Cameron made history. He descended alone in his submersible, the Deep Sea Challenger. Since then, only about 20 dives have been made. Even now, fewer people have been to the bottom of the Mariana Trench than to the moon, the place where light disappears. As we descend below the surface, our first stop is the epipelagic zone, the layer where sunlight still reaches. Here live the phytoplankton, the very foundation of ocean life. They produce almost half of all the oxygen on Earth. These tiny organisms form the base of the food chain. Fish eat plankton, bigger fish eat smaller ones, and sharks eat them all. At around 200 meters, we enter the twilight zone. There's very little light, but a lot of life. Most of the fish here are bioluminescent, meaning they create their own light. These blue glowing creatures use it to lure prey or attract a mate in the darkness. The midnight zone. 1 kilometer below, we're now in complete darkness. This is the midnight zone. The water is 4 degrees Celsius and the pressure is deadly. Yet some creatures still thrive here. The anglerfish waves its glowing lure to catch prey. The giant squid has the largest eyes of any animal on Earth, some growing over 13 meters long. Here, size is an advantage. Food is scarce, but patience is key. The underworld zone, and now we reach the deepest region, the Hadal zone. It takes its name from Hades, the god of the underworld in Greek mythology. It's near freezing under crushing pressure and in eternal darkness. Yet there are still signs of life. Microorganisms here feed on chemical energy instead of sunlight. Some even convert volcanic gases into energy. So even in a place like this, life finds a way. The seafloor is covered in fine sediment. Here live sea pigs, giant amphipods, and Mariana snailfish. So far, only about 400 species have been discovered in this region, but perhaps creatures we've never seen still dwell in these depths. Final words. More than half of our planet is still unexplored. We've sent probes to Mars, Jupiter, even Neptune. Yet we still don't truly know the depths of our own world. The Mariana Trench isn't just a hole in the ocean. It's a test of life's limits, resilience, and our endless curiosity. I'm Ismail Kopuk, and this has been a Cosmic Earth documentary. In the next episode, we'll dive even deeper into the hidden mysteries of our planet.